Hello and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren from Lauren and the Books. Not sure how this lighting's going to work out. I feel like maybe I might be a bit glimmery in it. And David's not here, so I can't ask him to check. Will I check now? I will. I think maybe if I sit on the edge it's going to be okay. So today I'm going to be talking, this is a response to a video I've watched twice in fact. So recently three of my favourite booktubers, Elena from Elena Reads Books, Kaitlin from Kitty G and Mercedes from Mercy's Bookish Musings went on a reading retreat hollybob with one another, and on that reading retreat hollybob with one another they filmed a few videos with each other. And one of the videos that they filmed was about what makes a 5-star read. So I watched this video with real interest because I feel like what makes my 5-star reads 5-star reads is completely different to what other people make 5-star reads. And I'm always interested to find out what make people's 5-star reads. So when you're reading a book, what, for instance, what's the difference between that 4-star read and that 5-star read? So I read a lot of books. I read about 12 books a month, and I don't really give out many 5-star reads at all. I'm quite stingy with my 5-star reads. There's normally about one a month. In fact, I've done so much bloody prep for this, and the one thing I haven't done to prep for it is find out how many 5-star reads I've had this month. Isn't that annoying, Minnie? Minnie! Hello, princess. Oh, big club. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so I don't know how many 5-star reads I've had this year so far. Should have done that. But I'm going to be talking about some of those 5-star reads I've had from this year, and so I don't spoil the entire best books that I've read of 2016. I'm going to be talking about some of the 5-star reads that I've had from last year and what made them 5-star reads for me and what is a 5-star read for me personally. So I'd love to hear some of your responses to these. I'd love to hear if you've read some of these books that I'm going to be talking about, and I'd love to hear what make books a 5-star read for you. And I will also link Mercedes, Elena and Kaitlin's video. It is from Elena's channel. I will link that down below because I think it really raised some good points, and it was so interesting to see that they all had such different what makes them different 5-star reads, and I think it's a really interesting discussion to be had. So I would love to hear more of what makes people's 5-star reads. I'm going to have to get that sentence sorted, seeing as I'm going to be saying 5-star reads quite a lot. Anyway, so what for me makes a 5-star read? Now, one of the main things I will say for my 5 stars are that time tells whether something's going to be a 5-star read for me. So a 5-star read is something that really stays with me. So something that I will think about weeks, months, years after I've read the book, something that I'll refer back to, something that I'll tell people about because I've read it in this amazing book, or oh, did you know this about Scandinavia because I heard it on this audiobook, or quoting Harry Potter to my friends, things that stay with me. So time really tells for me what a 5-star book's going to be. When I'm reading a book, and the difference I know between it being a 4-star and a 5-star book is that there's things in this book that I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm really going to remember this forever. Like, that's the sort of thing. Now, my ultimate 5-star book, which I tend to refer all books to, is Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. So I read this book last year. It was my favourite book of last year. And when I'm reading other books, oh God, I really want to reread this so much. When I'm reading other books, I want them to be a 5-star read, to make them feel how this made me feel. So Americanah by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie is an incredible book about two people, Efemelu and Obinze, who live in Nigeria and fall in love with each other. So it's a love story, which is something that is not really my bag, but in this is amazing. Efemelu moves to America. Hello, Minnie. Don't go too near that candle. What are you doing? Showing off. She's got a bald tum-tum. Are you hijacking my video? I will continue while she's there. She'll just be like around the area. Yeah, so Efemelu moves to America to further her education, and Obinze tries to follow her but is unable to because of problems with his immigration, etc. So it ends up moving to the UK to live as an undocumented illegal immigrant. What are you doing? It's amazing. I remember watching back one of my wrap-ups, and I remember in that I said it answered questions about race I didn't even know I had, and I really, when I listened to that, I was like, oh, well done, Lauren, that's an intelligent thing to say. And it actually did. The characterisation in this, The characters were amazing. They're not perfect characters. They're both like got flaws and things like that. The description of the environment, the storyline, things I love in books are sort of social storylines. So books about that have got like books that involve race, books that involve sexuality, books that involve social problems, and things like that. And this just had everything. This just ticked every single box I had about like that I needed for a book, for a 5-star book. So this is my like ultimate 5-star book. So I find myself comparing all my reads to that book to if they make it. Minnie, what are you looking at? She's a naughty little bear, isn't she? You're a beautiful girl. So yeah, another thing that I liked about that book that is reflected in quite a few of the books that I have in 5-star reads is that it had a strong female character in it. So it doesn't necessarily have to be that the lead character is a female character, but I love a strong female presence in a book. In that book, in Americanah in particular, Ifemelu is an amazing main character, and I loved everything about her. But in other books that I've read, so more recently, 2 5-star books I've read from the same author this year have been Daphne du Maurier's books. So I've read Jamaica Inn and Frenchman's Creek, both of which have a female character, which I'm still thinking about now. These books are so atmospheric, the description in them is incredible, and she just creates such a great like environment. I can just see it. Like this one in particular is about Mary Yellen, who after the death of her mother moves to the Cornish moors to a pub called Jamaica Inn, and the description in that, like I actually bloody felt like I was there. And the same as this, they've both got such good strong female characters, which I really really love in that writing. Similarly, talking about description and also from female perspectives, a non-fiction book I've read this year that's been a 5-star is Names for the Sea, Strangers in Iceland by Sarah Moss. So Sarah Moss wrote The Tidal Zone, which again is another incredible book that I've read this year that I absolutely adored. As well as female perspectives, I like sort of like interesting perspectives. So within the book The Tidal Zone, I'll hold this down so we don't get confused, within the book The Tidal Zone, written by Sarah Moss, the perspective is told from a stay-at-home dad, which is a perspective that you never really hear from, so I find that really interesting. And Sarah Moss's other book, Names for the Sea, Strangers in Iceland, is a non-fiction account of when her husband and their 2 sons moved to Iceland, and her description in this is just incredible. Like I actually thought I could look out my window and see Iceland there. It's just so perfectly done. Something else that I love in books is Scandinavia. So for instance, this is a really really great book that I've read this year, and I listened to the audiobook of A Year of Living Danishly by Helen Russell, and I really really love that because that just talks about a woman who's moved to Denmark and relocated there with her husband, and it's just got everything that I would want to know about relocating to Denmark. And I just love Scandinavia and their culture and things like that, so that's always going to be a plus, but not necessarily like a 5-star book, but those got Scandinavia in it, tick. But those books in particular were just really good. I've got 3 more here that I can talk about. So world building and characters and like believable and yet real characters are things that make up for a 5-star book for me. And The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers is definitely that. I read this last year and gave it 5 stars. It was in my top 10 books of 2015. I will link that video down below. It was when I was much more nervous and polite on this channel, but my hair does look really good in it. So I'll link that video down below so you can try that and see some of the 5-star books that I got from last year. And yeah, so this has great character development. I absolutely love this, and I can't wait to read the second one, which I think is out I know it's out this month, and I really want to reread this as well, so that was really great. Also, as I said earlier about strange perspectives, so how annoying, not only is the light gone, it's like winter now, because David's not here to check up on my camera, I was just there blathering on. I'd stopped recording long ago, my phone had run out of storage, so I'm going to have to go back to The Vegetarian by Han Kang, I believe. It's so weird having to refilm yourself, because like you're like, oh, have I already said that? I've already done that hilarious joke. I don't think I was dropping any hilarious jokes, we're fine. Yeah, so The Vegetarian by Han Kang is a book that I've really, really enjoyed. Probably like it's in my top 3 books that I've read this year, because of the thing about this book that made it 5-star for me as opposed to a 4-star was the interesting perspective. So this tells the story about a lady from Korea who decides to become a vegetarian, which is unheard of in Korean culture. People don't usually become vegetarian. And this sort of documents her journey into vegetarian, as well as her mental decline, from 3 perspectives. So from the perspective as her husband, of her brother-in-law, and of her sister. And it doesn't fall in the same timeline either, so you're hearing from different people at different times in this lady's life. And I just found that really interesting and really different, and it's got a really good placid sort of tone. So even though like there's some awful things going on here in terms of her mental health, it feels really tranquil and serene, like the whole book. And I just thought this was amazing. And Guardian here says, an extraordinary experience. I agree with you, The Guardian. So the last book is something which isn't really to do with like the book itself, but this book, This One Summer by Jillian and Americo is a book that I really enjoyed last year. And it would have been a 4-star book had it not been from the situation that I was in. So I was on holiday in Wales reading this, on holiday to the same place in Wales. My friend's parents have a holiday home in Wales, and we have been lucky enough to have been invited to go there twice. This book is about 2 girls who go on holiday to the same place every year. Their families go there separately and they go on holiday to the same place every year. And the familiarity they had with the places where they were on holiday was similar to the familiarities I was feeling. So like, we have a certain place on the beach we like to go, there's a little pub we like to go to, there's the shop that David always goes to, and things like that. And I was recognising my familiarities with going back on holiday to a place that I'd already been, that I had a wonderful time at. The same in this book as well. So I really think environment can just be that little nudge to make a book from a 4-star to a 5-star, and in this instance it really was. Now, it's a beautiful book anyway, and I really love it. I love the purple hue throughout, and I love the artwork, and I really love the storyline. But yeah, the little nudge was just that I was feeling the same sort of feelings as the characters were in the book as well. So those are the reasons that I enjoy a nice 5-star book. They're the sort of things that I like a 5-star book. They're the sort of things that I like in a 5-star book. That's what makes a 5-star book for me. As I said, I really am quite stingy with my 5 stars, so it really has to be something that's just going to push it over the edge for me to give a 5-star book. What are your specifications you look for when you're reading a book, and what makes it a 5-star book for you? Have you read any of the books that I've mentioned here? Were they 5-star books for you? I'm always interested to hear my favourite books, if people liked or didn't like them. I like it even more if they did like them. And I hope you enjoyed seeing Minnie again, although she's being a bit rude now, looking out the window. Minnie! Hello, princess. Hello, princess. She's grumpy. And I will see you all again on Sunday for another booktube video. Goodbye!